If you've heard of validation rules in Salesforce, then you probably know that it's their job to verify the data that is entered by a user to make sure that it meets a certain criteria before the record can save. Salesforce admins set up the rules as statements, which act like yes or no questions, and the answer must be no to all of them. If not, an error message appears, where the admin has explained what the user must do to correct the record before clicking save again. If you're finding yourself a little confused, then don't worry. In this video, we'll help you learn when to use validation rules and how to create them, as well as providing 8 examples for Sales Cloud. So let's get into it. So let's start off with the most important question. When should I use validation rules? To put it simply, use validation rules to maintain user input data or system modified records. User input data is prone to human error, so validation rules help when you need data to be in a certain format. With system modified records, changes to data triggered by imports, automated processes, integrated systems, etc. will need to abide by validation rules as well. Having said that, validation rules are a safety net that these processes ideally should not bump up against. Admins should prepare, design, automate, integrate systems respecting active validation rules. As we'll see later, you'll also be able to write validation rules to bypass system modified records. The most famous example of validation rules is close lost reason on opportunities. Imagine that you want to track why potential sales fell through. Your sales rep changed the opportunity stage to close lost, but forgot to select a reason. Stop right there. The rep is prompted to fill in the field and then saves the record successfully. A validation rule comes to the rescue by preventing reps from closing an opportunity while the close lost reason field is blank. Now you might be wondering, why not simply make the field required? Well, it's because required fields are all or nothing. You must complete the field for the record to be created. Validation rules kick in only under certain conditions. In the close lost reason example above, we don't require that field to be completed until the opportunity stage is being changed to close lost. It wouldn't make sense for the close lost reason field to be required at any other stage of the pipeline. The opportunity stage value is the condition. So now that we know when to use validation rules in Salesforce, let's look about how to create one. To start, validation rules can be broken down into 3 parts. You've got name and description, the rule, which is the error condition formula, as well as the error message. We'll take a look at how the close lost reason validation rule example looks from an admin's perspective. Let's start with the name and description. A clear name and description is very important. A small part of your org documentation that will benefit others who want to understand the purpose of the rule and/or to modify it in the future. Keep it short and simple. You may find that the description could be the same as the error message, but also add any context about who the rule was requested by or what data issues the rule is preventing. Next, we'll move on to the rule or the error condition formula. Setting up the validation rule itself is the trickiest part of this process to grasp. Error condition formula is the fancy name for the rule. Here is where you will tell Salesforce, if this happens, then that must be true. For example, if the opportunity stage is close lost, then the close lost reason field must not be blank. Let's take a tour around each of the buttons above the formula box. Then you'll be able to practice validation rules using the 8 examples that follow. First, there's the insert field. This opens a pop-up that lists fields in the object you are writing the validation rule for. Be sure to use this button. Not only does it save time, but also many validation rule errors are caused by field names being slightly different than what you may have guessed. Remember, what you see on the record is the field label. Validation rules and other formulas use the field API name. In fact, opportunity stage is a perfect example. The API name is stage name, not just stage. Once you have located your field, use the insert button to drop it into the formula. Next, there's the insert operator. This opens a drop-down menu that lists operators such as add, not equal to, etc. You'll be familiar with most because they follow standard mathematics syntax. The key ones you still need to know, which will stitch your formula together, are and, as well as or. With me so far? Moving on, we've got the insert selected function. This menu lists functions that you may be unfamiliar with, but don't panic. There are many different types of functions, but luckily, by selecting one, a description appears below the list. The most commonly used functions are isBlank, which returns true if the field is blank, isPickVal, which returns true if a pick list value in a field matches the pick list value in the formula, text, which converts a pick list value to a text, a quirk for writing formulas that ask if a pick list field is blank or not blank, and which returns true if all the items of the function are true, or which returns true if any of the functions are true. And lastly, we have the check syntax button. This checks if the rule has been written correctly, and Salesforce will even tell you what the problem is. The most common issues are when you are missing a parentheses somewhere, misspelled a field name, or used the wrong function. Once we've got the error condition formula, we'll need to think about the error message. This error message will appear when a user does not meet the requirements set out by the validation rule. This is how the admin explains what the user must do to correct the record before clicking save again. The error message location can appear at the top of the page or above the specific field causing the failed save. If there's only one field the rule references, I recommend you locate the error message on the field. Otherwise, you can locate it at the top of the page. Finally, activate your rule by checking the active checkbox. When it comes to using Sales Cloud, we can be pretty certain of one thing. Sales reps aren't the greatest fan of data input. And to keep your Salesforce data quality on track, you can use validation rules to guide users while working with Sales Cloud objects. Which information can sales rep realistically complete themselves based on customer conversations? Enforcing fields such as annual revenue isn't the best idea, seeing as A, users won't want to search for that information online, and B, you can leverage data enrichment tools for more accurate data. Stick to what sales reps should be asking during conversations, or what can be determined by using common sense. For example, the state field can only be Alabama if the country is United States. Here are some examples for accounts and contacts, leads, opportunities, and contracts. You can take basic account validation rules further by creating multiple validation rules based on a specific field. For example, when you require different information depending on what the account type field value is. If they're a prospect, we need less information filled in than if they are a customer. For customers, we need a full billing address, but not yet if they are a prospect. As each line of the address is a separate field, we need to use OR to catch the record if any of the address fields are missing. Another example is when you require different information depending on the account record type. You may use record types to separate customer and partner accounts. In this example, you can use the following validation rule. Validation on the billing country field is one of the most important validation rules you can implement on the account object. If you let employees enter a country name as free text, different formats and spelling mistakes will become an admin headache. Take the United States of America. You'll find people that will switch between using USA, U.S.A, US, and the United States. There are a few ways to solve this problem, including Salesforce autocomplete address fields, a Salesforce feature where suggested matching results appear when the user starts typing an address. Address tools. This AppExchange app instantly solves the problem too. However, there's much more to this tool beyond the Salesforce functionality, so I recommend you check out our full App Assessor review. Alright, now let's move on to leads. Lead records usually have minimal information because this is the start of the business process, typically where a BDR will start a relationship with a prospect. As qualifications progress, a BDR will get to know more about them. Once a prospect is qualified, the BDR or business development rep is satisfied that they have an interest in purchasing your service or product, the record is converted. For example, you might require contact information such as phone number and email to ensure the qualified lead can be contactable. You also might want BDRs to pass on a rating to the next rep handling the opportunity stages. To achieve this, your validation rules should look like so. For this next one, let's work off this example. You would like all records to go through the lead stages to ensure they have been properly qualified. Therefore, reps shouldn't be creating accounts directly skipping the lead lifecycle. If you block users from creating accounts, they won't be able to convert leads either. That's why you need a validation rule. A field that captures the lead created date means that the record must have existed as a lead in the first place. Create a lead formula field that adds the value of the standard lead created date field. Create a date field on the account object. Then map the lead formula field to the account date field. Once you've done that, create the account validation rule as follows. This validation will carry over the lead's created date to the opportunity, meaning that you can calculate the total time it takes from the first interaction to one business for the first deal with them. Neat, right? This next example is short and sweet, but definitely one to mention. Remember the validation rule that asks for information before a lead can be converted? Change is converted to is won and use the same validation rule to ensure the fields required to close an opportunity are filled in. Helpful for handling over from the sales team to post-sales/onboarding team. The more you know. As you already know, one account can have multiple opportunities associated as part of a one-to-many relationship. So say that you'd like each opportunity to be closed, e.g. won or lost, before a new opportunity is created, so that the account is only engaged in one sales process at a time. How would we do this, you ask? Well, step one is to create an account roll-up summary field. This will count the number of open opportunities. After that, we can create the opportunity validation rule as follows. The amount field is populated either by products being added to the opportunity or users manually entering the number. So what do you do when you want to avoid blank or $0 values in the closed business reporting? This validation rule will solve that for you. Lastly, you can use this particular validation rule on contracts or any other object like campaigns, where two date fields represent a duration and can be edited by users. This is when you want the end date to be after the start date. Like most things on the Salesforce platform, there are some best practices we can follow. Here are a couple of top tips for you to keep in mind when working with validation rules in Salesforce. Validation rules that bypass system-modified records. Ideally, admins should prepare, design, automate, integrate systems respecting validation rules. However, having a way to toggle which users should bypass validation rules is very useful. To do this, start by creating a checkbox field on the user object. You can call it bypass validation rule, for example. Then, you need to edit the user records. Check the checkbox field for all users who should avoid validation rules. Finally, add the condition to validation rules. Enter the following into every validation rule you want to create in your org with this bypass feature. You can also use user profile in validation rules to apply this to a group of users who share the same profile. This should hopefully clear up confusion surrounding a commonly asked validation rule question: when do I use and, or and or? Here is the same formula written in different ways. Notice the differences? So which should you use? The answer is it's mostly up to personal preference. However, if your rule contains multiple statements, you should use and or, because indenting and using separate lines will help identify syntax issues. If you've made it all the way to the end, then well done, because that wraps up our guide of when to use validation rules, how to create them, as well as some examples that are ready for you to implement in your org. For even more examples, check out the full post on salesforceben.com, linked in the description below.